It's another day here in New York City. It's raining cats and dogs. Winter's poking its head back here. We thought we were out of the woods, but it's just another interesting day, I guess, friends. You never know what the weather's going to be like in New York City, and you never know what crazy news you're going to wake up to in the world that we live in. That's why you need to hit the subscribe button right now and make sure you check out my podcast, Interesting Times with Bek Lover. I gather all the headlines, all the interesting stories, all the crazy stuff that happens around the world, and I save you the time of having to scour the news and listen to some of these annoying people that are fed and paid to make you think a certain way. I'm going to make you think a certain way for free. Interesting times indeed, my friends. So let's jump into the headlines, and welcome to another episode of Interesting Times with your boy, Bek Lover. So I found this article very interesting. It's reported by Newsweek.com. Closing bars early reduced murders by 40% in one U.S. neighborhood. Reducing the hours bar and taverns could sell alcohol in a Baltimore neighborhood reduced all violent crime in the area annually by 23%. Research by the Boston University School of Public Health and the Alcohol Research Group of Emeryville, California, found that the number of murders dropped by 51% within the first month of the trial. The homicide rate fell by 40% annually compared to similar low-income neighborhoods, which had no change in the hours of alcohol sales. The findings suggest that reducing late-night hours of sale may be an effective way for cities to curb excessive drinking, as well as homicides, assaults, and other crimes. I think that's a remarkable study. I guess the Muslims don't got it wrong. I guess the fact that they've made alcohol forbidden in their religion, this clearly shows why. I mean, if we look at the verse, I believe it's in the Quran, about alcohol, it says, we've compiled a list. What does it say about alcohol? Says here that they ask you about wine and gambling. Tell them that there are great sins in them, even though they bring some profit to the people, but their sin is greater than the profit. It's interesting that wine and gambling have been asked about together. I mean, they kind of do go together. All you who believe, indeed, wine and gambling and idols and drawing of hours are evil and of Satan's act. Therefore, leave them aside in order that you may prosper. Indeed, Satan desires to incur enmity and hatred between you through wine and gambling, and he desires to prevent you from God's remembrance and prayer. Yet will you then give them up? So basically, from the Islamic interpretation, the demonic realm inspired the creation of alcohol. They love when human beings drink alcohol. This is a very easy way for them to influence human beings and create enmity, which is hatred, right? That's the first step to creating murder, right? When you just hate someone so much, you lose your mind, you want to kill them. So alcohol definitely has that type of impact on people. People lose their minds. They get into the heat of the moment. I've seen it many times throughout my life. The world would be a much safer and a much better place without alcohol, and you would definitely be a much better person without alcohol. Period. I know some of you make a joke and be like, well, if I don't have my glass of wine, no. Listen, the truth of the matter is you would be a much better human being, a much healthier human being, a much more productive person if you would just give up alcohol. That's all I got to say. And if you don't believe me, women, here's the reason why you should. Women who drink more than 8 drinks a week have a higher risk of heart disease. This is reported by people.com. A Kaiser Permanente, Northern California study found that binge drinking more than 3 alcoholic beverages per day puts women at a higher risk for heart disease. A new study has found that women who drink more than 1 alcoholic beverage per day are more likely to develop heart disease. Doctora from Kaiser Permanente, Northern California, used data from over 430,000 adults in the healthcare system to research the alcohol intake and coronary heart disease diagnosis as a part of their study. Women included in the data who said they drink 8 or more alcoholic drinks per week were anywhere from 33 to 51% more likely to develop coronary heart disease. So another reason why maybe you should give up alcohol. It's not good for you. Besides, it can make some of you real slutty and real easy to access. And any man that takes advantage of a woman when she's drunk, even if he's drunk, well, I guess they're equal there, but if you're sober and they're drunk, definitely something weird there. Yeah, maybe you didn't force it, but I would say that's a big no-no. Drop in the comments. Do you think it's normal for a man to go with a woman if she's drunk, but he's sober? Unless they're already together, boyfriend and girlfriend, it's a different story. But I'm talking about like strangers. I would say that that's some creepy, cringe-ass shit. Drop a comment below. Let me know. Reuters reports Iran vows revenge on Israel after Damascus embassy attack. It's amazing to me how Israel is allowed to hit any country it wants. Not that America doesn't do it themselves. It seems like America and Israel can just hit anyone they want, anywhere they want. And if Russia does it, they're bad guys, but we're good guys. Or if China does it, they're bad guys, but we're... I mean, it's just hypocrisy, guys. It just really is. Iran said on Tuesday it would take revenge on Israel for an airstrike that killed 2 of its generals and 5 military advisors at its embassy compound in Damascus, raising the risk of further escalation and conflict in the Middle East. The strike marked one of the most significant attacks yet on Iranian interests in Syria, where Israel has stepped up a long-running military campaign against Iran and groups it backs as the Gaza war has rippled around the Middle East. And like I said, I fear this turns into one massive powder keg which pulls the entire Middle East in, every Arab country coming to the fight for their brothers and sisters in Gaza, and all hell breaks loose, and Armageddon starts, and they kill the red heifer, and they build the third temple, and the Antichrist comes, and we all go to hell. Basically. Which at least a lot of people feel that way. Seems like a lot of weird crap has been going on, or they're just reporting it more now, but our infrastructure seems to be getting hit and eroded, and it's all over the place. Today in Philadelphia, section of I-95, which takes you all the way from north to south, all the way from New York to Florida. I've driven it many times. Closed for several days after truck strikes bridge. I mean, you just can't make this shit up. It just seems to be happening over and over again. You know, I don't know. A stretch of Interstate 95 will be closed for several days after a tractor trailer carrying an oversized load struck a railroad bridge. The truck was carrying a massive cylindrical object when it struck the Conrail Bridge in the city's Port Richmond section. The crash has disrupted rail service in the area and caused major traffic delays. It really, I mean, it always sucks to be from Philly. No offense, guys. Now it really sucks right now. NBC reports the Tropicana, the legendary casino in Las Vegas, been around for 67 years, has its final day. The lavish casino is a frequent haunt to legendary Rat Pack, while its past under the mob cemented its place in Vegas lore. In the 1971 film Diamonds Are Forever, James Bond stays in a swanky suite at the Tropicana, Las Vegas. I hear that the Hotel Tropicana is quite comfortable. Agent 007 says it was Tropicana's heyday. The lavish casino is a frequent haunt of legendary Rat Pack, while its past under the mob cemented its place. But after welcoming guests for 67 years, the doors to the Las Vegas Strip's third oldest casino will be chained shut on noon Tuesday, and demolition is slated for October to make room for a $1.5 billion Major League Baseball stadium, part of the city's latest rebrand as a hub for sports entertainment. And that's that, guys. I will be in Vegas at the end of the month, and I guess I'm going to go take a look at I should go. I'm going to add that to my list. Hey, Siri, add a tour of the Tropicana Casino in Las Vegas on end of April 27.
Here's what I found.
I didn't say the real day I'm going to go there. If you're looking for me, you're never going to find me. You never... Sorry about that. Oregon. What idiots, man. I mean, seriously, like, you're just idiots. Not well, maybe I don't know, the government, because I actually do know some amazing people in Oregon. And if you're watching this, love and respect, you know who you are. Oregon passes law recriminalizing drug possession. The law rolls back an experimental policy, the most liberal drug measure in the U.S., that made possession for personal use a ticketed offense with a fine of up to $100. The new legislation penalizes those possessing small amounts of drugs with probation up to 180 days in jail. The governor said that the state still aims to provide a path for drug treatment rather than punishing drug users. Rehabilitation and destigmatization was the intention of the original law, known as Measure 110, when it passed in 2020. But a spike in the number of overdoses caused lawmakers and supporters to backtrack. So basically, they gave a free rein, for those of you that remember this. You could do any drug you wanted in Oregon. They didn't care. They weren't going to arrest you. You weren't going to get in trouble. And basically, they turned into zombie nation, people dropping dead left and right. Now they're like, oh my God, what did we do? What did we do? Let's change the law back, basically. Biden proposal would bar schools from enacting outright bans on trans athletes. This has been going on in the news a lot, especially with the Transgender Day of Visibility. I do want to say I made a mistake in my last episode. Biden did not proclaim on Easter Sunday, even though the media would have you believe that. He was simply recognizing the day that they've been recognizing since 2009 publicly, the Day of Visibility for transgender people. And the media kind of twisted it and made it look like he was doing it on Easter Sunday on purpose, when we all know that Easter rotates every year, the date, just like Eid does for Muslims, because it's lunar. But with Easter, it also rotates. It's never on the same date. And this year happened to be coincidentally on the same Sunday as Easter. And the media ran with it. And the right wing attacked the left wing. Even I didn't read all the headlines, so I got pulled into it. So I do want to apologize to my audience and to my viewers, because the last thing I want to do is fuel hatred between people, which was correct about what I said yesterday. But I did make it seem like he also proclaimed it on Easter, because I did not read all the way into the headline, and that's my fault. And that's why I take ownership of that. Bek Lover, always undercover. Word to your mother. The proposed rule sends a political counterpunch towards a wave of Republican-led states that have sought to ban trans athletes from competing in school sports that align with their gender identities. I'm sorry, man. It's not fair. Genetically, it's not fair. This has been proven over and over again by people that are not even trans. They said, okay, I identify as a girl. They broke every record. I think at this point, if you guys want to allow them to compete, then they should have their own league, I guess. And I would definitely watch that league. I would watch the trans sports league. I would 100%. I would love to. I wish they had their own league. I swear to God, I'd probably watch it more than non-trans sports. 100%. You guys should start the TNBA, the TNHL, the Teen NFL, TNFL. This is interesting. The cicadas, I think I'm saying that correctly, are nature's weirdos. They pee stronger than us, and an STD can turn them into zombies. The periodical cicadas that are about to infest 2 parts of the U.S. aren't just plentiful, they're downright weird. These insects are the strongest urinators in the animal kingdom, with flows that put humans and elephants to shame. How the hell is a little bug? Whatever. They have pumps in their heads that pull moisture from the roots of trees, allowing them to feed for more than a decade underground. They are rescuers of caterpillars, and they are being ravaged by a sexually transmitted disease that turns them into zombies. So even insects can get like diseases from sex. Guess God gave them some rules too, didn't he? You guys want to fuck around a lot, you're going to see what happens to you. Turn you into zombies. Could you imagine God punished human beings like that? With the amount of promiscuity that's being... I think it's on the horizon. This is probably like a signal from God of what's probably coming next. I can do it to them, I'm going to do it to you. In any event, they're coming in heavy. I forgot what part they're going to be infesting, but they're going to be everywhere. I forgot where, but they're coming. It says that their emergence is in the mid-Atlantic. He found that the bugs that turn into moths survived. Okay, so yeah, they're coming. Okay. Virginia Democrat slams proposal to name airport after Trump. I suggest they find a federal prison. Found this article to be funny. The Hill reports that Representative Jerry Connolly on Tuesday criticized a recently introduced GOP bill that would rename Washington Dulles International Airport after President Trump. Donald Trump's facing 91 felony charges. If Republicans want to name something after him, I suggest they find a federal prison. As millions of domestic and international travelers fly through the airport, there's no better symbol of freedom. So they're trying to give Trump something with his name on it. Of course, Democrats don't like it. Fire at a nightclub in Turkey's Istanbul kills at least 29 people, reported by Al Jazeera. At least 29 people have been killed and one injured in a fire at a nightclub in central Istanbul during daytime renovation. The number of people who lost their lives in the fire has increased to 29. I guarantee you, some of the local imams there and the religious people would have been like, if they were home, observing Ramadan, not partying in nightclubs, not drinking, they'd be alive. Guarantee you that at least 5 Turkish imams spoke about that. I guarantee you by this Friday, the entire country, they're going to give a speech about that. Mark my words. Arrest warrants were issued for 5 people, including the management of the club and the person responsible for the renovations. By late afternoon, around 20 fire trucks and ambulances were still crowded around the building. This is why, like, having the right company, construction, liability insurance, like, man, it's just anything could go wrong, man. Speaking of anything could go wrong, 3 killed in an avalanche near Swiss resort of Zermatt. Reuters. 3 people were killed. Another person was injured in an avalanche that rumbled down a mountainside on Monday afternoon at Reifelberg by the Swiss Alpine Ski Resort. Spokesperson for police in southern canton of Elsass had no immediate details about it. Listen, for me, skiing, I wrote it off a long time ago, both physically and up my nose. Never did that at all, ever. But skiing physically down mountains, I broke my ankle in 6th grade, never again, or 5th grade, it was 5th grade, never again. Such a dangerous sport. No offense to those of you that like it. I'm perfectly fine. I've been to Whistler Mountain in Vancouver. I've been to Colorado, to the most beautiful mountains, Albania, Switzerland, you name it. I literally been to like the most beautiful mountain ranges. I never skied. I didn't want to. I didn't want to risk running into a tree or what happened to Sonny and Cher. Sonny, you know, bro, the guy, if somebody like, nah, I'm good with skiing. If you love skiing, I respect you. It's an amazing sport. If you think I'm right, it's just too dangerous, you don't really want to do it, and I hate the cold, drop a comment, let me know. Major poultry farm to cull nearly 2 million chickens after positive bird flu. It just seems like cows are being slaughtered. Chickens are being slaughtered. Like, I'm talking about annihilated, not slaughtered, like massacred and terminated. One of Texas' largest poultry farms will cull nearly 2 million chickens this week. That's insane. The nearly 2 million chickens account for just under 4% of its flock. H5N1 bird flu. This is absolutely devastating news for Maine and the entire Panhandle region. Okay, this thing seems to be spreading, and they're about to take out 2 million chickens because of it, man. Crazy. The Hill reports e-cigarette users 20% more likely to develop heart failure. So if you think vaping is good for you, think again. Okay, 20% more likely to develop heart failure. Surging dengue cases in America cause alarm as potentially worst ever season looms. Dengue cases in the Americas rose in the first 3 months of this year by 3 times the number of infections reported in the same period last year. The head of the Pan American Health Organization said on Thursday, Brazil, Argentina, and Paraguay are the countries hardest hit by the dengue and what the PAHO officials described as potentially the worst outbreak in the Americas to date for the deadly mosquito-borne viral illness. Now keep in mind, they could make their way here to us in the northern U.S. Barba de Silva said that the entire region saw 4.5 million reported cases in all of 2023, which he said puts the Americas on track for the highest ever number of cases this year. Around 4 billion people, around half the world's population, live in areas with the risk of contracting dengue. Dengue symptoms include fever, headaches, vomiting, skin rashes, as well as muscle and joint pain in some cases, and can cause more severe hemorrhagic fever, resulting in bleeding that can lead to death. Okay, you don't want to catch this shit. That's all. Something else you don't want to catch. Atlanta ranks 3rd in the new HIV infections nationwide. If you're in Atlanta and you're being promiscuous, I want you to know your life is in danger. You might not die because they can cure HIV now. I mean, you can live with it. But you better strap up in Atlanta. You better wrap your little sausage there. You better watch out who you're sleeping with. You better check STI tests because HIV is spreading in Atlanta. I thought I'd give you the news. Atlanta, be careful. Atlanta, wrap your turkeys. Atlanta, protect yourselves. Atlanta, get tested. Some good news for those of us that like to indulge in keto. As you can tell, my friends and followers, I've lost a bit of weight. Keto diet may improve mental health symptoms. A new pilot study presents a compelling case for the ketogenic diet as a dual-action treatment for individuals with serious mental illness like schizophrenia and bipolar disorder, who often suffer metabolic side effects from their medication. The research shows how adopting a ketogenic diet not only mitigates these metabolic issues, but also significantly improves psychiatric conditions. So I've lost over 200 pounds in my life doing keto, or also known as the Atkins diet, where you go into ketosis. And I have noticed sharper, more focused once you go in. Like, I don't know, it's been really good for me. Some interesting news in my final story of the day. Sky News reports thousands with type 1 diabetes in England to receive artificial pancreases. Children and adults in England living with type 1 diabetes are set to receive an artificial pancreas in a world's first initiative being rolled out by the NHS. The groundbreaking device continually monitors a person's blood glucose, then automatically adjusts the amount of insulin given to them through a pump. The system, called a hybrid closed-loop system, sometimes termed as an artificial pancreas, where a blood sugar monitor, insulin pump, and software on a person's phone talk to each other, according to the Diabetes UK. It removes the need to draw blood and manually inject insulin for some users. That's great, because diabetes is a horrible disease. I've had plenty of people and friends with it in my family also, and I am at risk of it, and I hope I never get it. And those of you that have it, my heart goes out to you. This may be a step in the right direction for things to get easier. As I said, it was an interesting time today. It's an interesting world that we live in. Remember, never give up, never surrender. Check out all the other content I have. Make sure you follow me on Instagram, follow me on Twitter, also known as X. I'm doing amazing work, guys. I want to interact with you. Drop me some comments, share it. Tell your friends and family. Leave me a 5-star comment. I need all the help I can get. You are the fuel that projects my voice, and I thank you, and I love you. And I'll see you next time. Interesting times.